A memorial of flowers and crosses is growing outside of Annunciation Catholic Church in Minneapolis after an attack on the students and teachers attending Mass inside. 2 children died. 17 other people were injured in the shooting. Aaron Rupar's 2 children were at the school during the shooting. He joins us live now to talk more about this. Aaron, first and foremost, thank you for being here. And I know it's so difficult to talk about this. Your 2 children are home, correct? They're fine. I want to make that clear, but let's walk us through what happened yesterday when you dropped them off and then you heard what was going on.
Yeah, we just moved to the neighborhood, so it was their third day at school yesterday, and we dropped them off. It was just a normal beginning to the day, and drove home. We lived about a mile away, and as soon as we got home, we heard dozens and dozens of sirens down in the area of the church. But even then, I didn't really think anything of it. My mind certainly didn't go to any sort of shooting incident at the school. And I was actually configuring my internet at home because we had just moved when I got a text from a friend saying, "Hey, have you heard what's going on at Annunciation?" He knew that my kids were going there. And so right away, my heart dropped, and my wife and I hopped in the car and drove down there, hopped out of it as quickly as we could. Fortunately, one of the first children we encountered was my son, who was being taken out of like a side entrance to the school, and he was unharmed. But then we had to wait for about an hour before we could confirm that our daughter was okay. And, that was probably the most harrowing hour of my life. And of course, being out in a parking lot with other parents who, were kind of hysterical, obviously worrying about their own kids. I don't wish that upon anyone. And we were so relieved when we discovered that my daughter was unhurt with her classmates in the school gym. But, my heart absolutely breaks for the families of those 2 children who will never be coming home.
Oh, absolutely. And you just moved to the area. This was a school that you chose for your children, and obviously probably the safest place in your mind for your 2 children to be that day. Let's talk about the emotions the day after. How are your kids and how are you handling all of this now and the community in general?
Yeah, as I look back on yesterday, I realized that I was in kind of a state of shock for most of the day. And today, I feel like I'm kind of processing things a little more rationally. Thankfully, the community here, just in our little neighborhood, has been amazing with people coming over and bringing food and just, checking in on us. And the community around the school has been amazing as well, just keeping parents in the loop. That's part of the thing that is so tragic about this is Annunciation is a South Minneapolis institution. One of our neighbors here, coincidentally, who was in his 80s, who I met yesterday, went to Annunciation, was telling us about his experiences and just how unthinkable this is. And that was part of the reason that we wanted our kids to go there. Is that the staff there is amazing. It really has a reputation for being an excellent school. And it's just so tragic that these kids who were at Mass, and adults who were there too, as part of the Annunciation community, had to go through something so horrible. And I know that we'll kind of rally together and get through this as best we can, but the sort of thing leaves scars that will never go away.
Yeah, absolutely. And as we learn more about the shooter, his messages and his background are pretty unthinkable. I can't even imagine. But I want to talk more about your children today. What sort of things are they saying, or are they opening up, or what happens in a child's mind, and how do you speak to them as a parent?
Yeah, we're kind of learning that on the fly because we've never had to, thankfully go through anything like this. They are 3 and 5, and as I mentioned earlier, they were spared kind of the worst of this, in that they didn't witness anybody getting hurt or anything like that. So, they've had some questions about kind of like what happened. Was there a bad person at school? What did the bad person do? And we try to kind of answer that while not being super specific, because we don't want to traumatize them. But, I reflect on as we were leaving the gymnasium. There was a student behind us with his parents who was in tears, talking about how he never wanted to come back to that school again. There was another student in the gym who was caked with blood, that I assume was proximate to the shooting as that was happening in the church. So, in addition to the 2 students who passed away and the others who were injured, I also think it's important to be mindful and just be thinking about those students who were traumatized because of things that they saw at an age and in a place that you should never see things like that, and how those will be experiences that stick with them the rest of their lives. Thankfully, like I said, my kids were spared all of that. And so while they're kind of confused and certainly, have questions about what went on, I don't get the sense that they were traumatized or, are really going to have kind of lasting scars beyond obviously the stories that we will keep with us about that horrible day.
Absolutely. Aaron Rupar, I really appreciate you talking with us. Thank you so much.
Thanks for having me.